Do you want to create income that doesn't depend completely upon you? I want to share with you something that's not only working for me, but for many others during this crazy pandemic year. It's making myself and a lot of others a lot of money during this crazy pandemic year. It's made us money even though my son and I got COVID back in August of 2020. In this episode, you'll join me at our yearly $1 Million Roundtable Retreat that we've held over the last several years in prestigious locations throughout the United States. I'll break down how millionaires create real passive income that is built to last regardless of a recession or a pandemic, starting in 3, 2, 1, let's go. What's cracking, everybody? Money Smart Guy Matt Sapaula here, hailing to you from the La Cantera Resort here in San Antonio, Texas. We're here, you're gonna get an excerpt, just a quick excerpt from a 2.5-day $1 million retreat we've held. And I'm fired up for this because we're sharing concepts and ideas that has lasted through the test of time and shown that it's built to last. You see, there are 3 major ways to get money into your bank account. Number one, you can earn it. You clock in, clock out, 40-hour work week, sell something, transactions, you earn it, you make money. Second way to make money is you have a portfolio income. You have stocks, bonds, and mutual funds. You have a real estate portfolio. You might even have a Bitcoin portfolio. You have a portfolio of companies that you invested businesses in. That's a way for you to earn portfolio income. And number 3 is passive income, which is built on systems, which the cool part is we can also compound. Guess what? Millionaires make their money on number 2 and number 3. The last thing millionaires want to do is trade time for dollars or have to be dependent upon transactions to make their money. In a previous episode, I discussed how a $500 investment turned into a $45 million business, thereby helping my wife and I create a first-generation cash flow millionaire type of situation. So let's get right into it. So in this first clip, I discuss why my specific industry has not grown in the last 50 years. It's built producers, it's built practitioners and sales rep who simply chase high contracts and have to purchase and buy leads in the short term, but gravely miss out on building leaders who build businesses that expand the insurance industry and sadly their income over the long term. Let's check this out. If they were to answer this question, what's the most valuable thing you own? What would they say? House, what else? Car, what else? There are stocks, bonds, mutual funds, or portfolio. Okay, what else? Their gold, their IUL, yeah? What else? By the way, for the MSM knows this already, but don't attempt to understand what I'm writing on the board. I'm gonna write here and you have to fill in the blanks, okay? What else? 401k, retirement plan, pension. Would you say that here? Right? My grandmama gave me that chain, right? Jewelry. Right, these are what kind of assets? These are financial assets. So we call this the financial category. Let me flip around the question. What's the most valuable thing in your life, Musgrove? What's the most valuable thing in your life? Family. What else? Health. Yeah, does it make sense to spend all your life to get all this wealth and then you lose your health and you got to spend your wealth to regain your health? Doesn't make sense, right? Keep going. What else? What's the most valuable thing in your life? Faith? Amen. Hallelujah. Hallelujah to that. What else? Time? Ooh, man, Cindy got deep with that one. Time. Right? Would you say relationships? Right? Very important to you? What do we call these things? This is called your human assets. Right? Human. This makes you you. Okay, so if I was to go over here, this is your intellectual quadrant. What's your intellectual quadrant? Your education, your experiences, right? What else would go under intellectual? Your skills. Awesome. What else? We'll go in there. Okay, you guys are stumped. Okay, let me ask you this question. You have your financial quadrant, you got your human quadrant, and you got your intellectual quadrant. Okay, 3 quadrants. You have a dilemma now. I'm presenting to you a dilemma. You have to bankrupt one quadrant. You gotta get rid of it, bankrupt it. But the other part of that too as well is you get to keep the other 2, and the other 2 that you choose, you get to perpetuate for multiple generations. Look at the quadrants: financial quadrant, human, intellectual quadrant. You guys got it? Which quadrant are you going to bankrupt? Heart says financial? Financial? Who else? Shatara? Financial? Financial. You guys are all saying financial. So you bankrupt this. It's gone. Why?
You rebuild it. You can rebuild it with skills.
Well, no shit. Because with your relationships, your skills, your experiences, your wisdom, your friends, what you've learned. What are we doing right now? We're sharing knowledge, aren't we? So therefore you can get ahead in your business sooner, faster, and further. So in other words, you can keep these other 2, your human quadrants and your intellectual quadrants. You would keep those 2 because you can always rebuild what? This. Here's a question before I get into producers versus builders. How come then most financial institutions, most financial companies only talk about one asset then? I can get you a higher contract. I can get you leads. I can get you a higher rate of return. I can get stock, bond, mutual, blah, 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 blah. And you just told me the least most important thing to you in your life is that. Got it? That's what makes PHP special. That's what makes us special. Try buying this. Can't buy it. Try replacing this. Can't buy it. So when you're thinking like a producer versus a builder, guess what you're thinking about? How to grow these assets, because this by nature will naturally go what? Higher. Remember we read the book, T. Harv Ekker's Secrets of the Millionaire Mind? You can't outgrow the current identity level of you. You can't outgrow your identity. If you think like a $50 an hour person, you think like a $15 an hour person, you think like a $100 person, and you make $30,000 a month, and you still think like $10 an hour, guess what? Sooner or later, you're gonna lose this, because you didn't grow this. FollowMe.com? Interesting, right? Everybody in that room said that for the long term, they would bankrupt their financial quadrant over the other assets that are the foundation what they're knowingly standing for, which is their values and their principles. Now, the mindset of how you do what you do is transferable to any industry, business, or endeavor that you're continuing to pursue. Here's why: simply just locked in on sales and transactions and purely focused on getting a check is simply too short term. See, it's one thing to create income. It's another thing to create $50,000 income, $100,000 income. It's another thing to create 7 figures of income, but it's another thing to play for keeps. Ask yourself, do I want what I'm doing right now to operate and take on a life of its own? So if you're clear on that, you'll make much better choice to make that vision come true. It's a good transition to this next clip about focusing on just selling your product or service. For now, although good, is just too short-term thinking. Why, you may ask? Let's check this out. The reality is, sometimes when we think linear, whether you're working for somebody or you're thinking sales, okay, your income's like this. You have a job, what happens? Linear, 40 in, 40 out, linear income, hopefully get a pay raise. That's your income. This is a job, okay? And then when people get tipped off to sales, you know what happens? Okay, it starts off like this. A little bit of a hiccup, okay, but they're learning. First 30 days, the next thing you know, bam! That's sales, right? But what happens, so this is short term. What happens long term to a salesperson when they actually have to work? Either plateau, mace, or what else? They burn out. And then what happens to a salesperson? What happens to a salesperson? A salesperson's income goes like this: boom, 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 boom. Right? It goes like that. And every time they're down here, here's what happens. I'm gonna make money, Awesome. I made money, and then when income drops like this, you know what they say? Shit, I gotta worry about prospecting. Okay, I prospected, hit income. They get the cash, they close the sale, they close the deal, went through underwriting, policy got issued, clear to close. What happens? Celebrate. And then income what? Drops. Oh shit, I got a prospect. Back up again. Celebrate. Vacation. Extended vacation. Boom, income drops. What do you worry about here? Got a prospect. You know why? Because it's dependent upon, a producer's mentality is dependent upon them. This happens, jagged. It's teeth. Look at it, it looks like teeth. Sales is gonna take a bite out of you. It's a nasty bite. And what happens here? Once you're tired about this up and down process, guys, for me, this happened for 12 years. And I think I was, in my situation, I was a single dad. I had to do this. In my 21 years of being in business, I've come to realize and observe that eventually salespeople eventually burn out. If a majority of what you do is dependent upon you having to sell something, to clock in and to clock out, eventually over time you will dread what you do. Why? Welcome to being a human being. Do you want to raise dependent kids that are dependent upon you for the rest of their lives? Or do you want to raise independent kids that are independent of you for the rest of your lives? They choose to want to be with you, not because they have to. Same thing with your business. Do you want to create a business that's dependent upon you or independent upon you? And then you find the joy in the relationship of this business for the long term. When I was simply a salesperson for 12 years, oh my gosh, and I was just depending upon my commissions to make an income, I loathed the month of December. It's the same pit in the stomach feeling that people have on Sunday nights when they're going to a job on Monday morning they know they don't like. I felt that way as a salesperson every December. Why? Because come January, I've got to start again from zero and push this income rock uphill instead of downhill. You see, working downhill is not only where I am, but many first-generation cash flow millionaires are today. Okay, so if sales creates dependent income, let's take a look at how independent income is based on by implementing systems. That means beyond just sales, you're creating marketing systems, you're creating a competitive and fun culture, competitive culture that people will love to be around. At the same time, you're investing also in people in creating leadership development. You'll see in this clip how your income can take on independent, exponential growth that you don't always have to carry on 99% of the load. Let's take a look at this. Here's what a builder's life looks like. Right? Same starting point. Linear, right? Sales, and the reason why it dips a little because you got to buy leads and then you take off. We got a guy, Corman introduced me to the guy, the building model. He's got 130% contract. How many agents, Corman? 100 agents he said he had? He's got 100 agents and he's miserable. Why is he talking to me? I've been here for 6 months. I'm making $30,000 a month. So what are you talking to us for? Because 90% of my business is based on me, even with 100 agents at my team. Because none of my agents can afford to do what? Buy the leads. So here's how a builder starts off, okay? Boom, boom, boom. I'm getting started compared to the linear job, compared to the salesperson got to buy leads. Here's how a builder starts off, right? You get started, big event ticket, life insurance license, right? Invest yourself. Oh shit. What did I just get involved in? Why? Well, what happened was, but if you're able to persevere, this is called the great abyss. It hangs out for a minute, but guess what happens to this after a while? Associate promotion. Feel the associate promotion. Oh shit, you got licensed, you start getting paid now. It's meeting and exceeding what you get at your job. And then compared to the salespeople who made a whole lot more money in the short term, guess what happens to you? And guess what? It stays there. It stays there, assuming that you are building and not just producing. There's a reason why Sheena and I, our first year in business, 208, income. Year 0 to year 1, 208, first year. Year 1 to year 2, 646. Year 2 to year 3, 967. Right? Year 3 to year 4, 1 million. Year 4 to year 5, 1.3 million. Where are we at right now, sweetheart? 1.8 million something. It doesn't have what? Teeth to take a bite out of you. Now, does that mean we don't have our own doubts, disbeliefs, fears, and setbacks? Of course we do. Do we get embarrassed because we lose certain competition? Of course we do. But after a while, it smooths out, and it goes in that direction. So what do you want? Now, did you see the $1.8 million that we've generated year to date in 2020 in the middle of this pandemic? Here's a better question. How much of that income do you think was generated by my wife and I by personally have to sell something? 25%? 50%? 75%? You want to know? 1.7%. What? That means 98.3% of our income is coming from a business by running a system, by running a process, by having leadership development installed into our business that we bought into. Now think about this though. Imagine if we wanted to say, hey, let me put $1.8 million of income personally responsible on my own shoulders. Imagine if you do all the math, how many sales we'd have to individually do, how many prospecting efforts we have to do, how many marketing efforts we independently have to do, how many follow-ups we have to do, how many case studies we got to do, how many illustrations we got to do, how many proposals we got to do, how much rejection and changing of other people's minds that we have to deal with. Imagine the heartache it would actually take to generate that type of income in our industry to make that type of money. Now consider this. Because we're not dependent on independent sales, individual sales to make our income, think about the deeper amount of education we have through our clients. The amount of education and time spent with the people that we work with and serve, how we can help them to create a better educated buying decision, that we don't have to desperately rush through a sales process to sell something so therefore we can eat. Here's the beautiful part. The stress behind having to make that independent sale is no longer there. The pressure, however, that we feel is now self-imposed to get better, to serve our clients better, to make sure that our experience for them is much better, that they have clarity, they have confidence in what they've acquired for the betterment of their family. See, in a lot of organizations, sales organizations, people feel sometimes there's a win-lose type of situation. See, our situation, we created a win-win type of situation. The question you got to ask yourselves, my friends, is, are you? See, there's two conditions, stress and pressure, but they're very different. You see, stress creates an involuntary condition that you have to adjust to, otherwise you'd crack. Pressure, now that's very different. You choose to take that on. You choose to impose that on yourself, and that, my friends, creates diamonds. The choice is yours. What do you want to do? With that being said, please consider watching this video, How Millionaires Create Surging Income. Because most salespeople think they're actually building a business. Most salespeople think they're actually building a company, when in fact, all they're creating is a practice and not a business that creates that compounding income effort that I was discussing in this episode. That being said, guys, drop your thoughts, your comments, your follow-ups in the comment section below. I love this engagement we got going on. We're committed to this VLOGMAS 2020 series. We're uploading a video every day from the 1st of December to the 24th of December to help you think like a millionaire, help you strategize like a millionaire, so therefore one day you can become a first-generation cash flow millionaire. With that being said, guys, here from San Antonio, Texas, if you're watching this on Facebook, make sure you click like and follow our business page, Money Smart Guy. And if you are watching this on YouTube, make sure you please click subscribe and hit notifications to be alerted the next time we upload our next episode. I'm your Money Smart Guy, and until we meet again, continue to live smart, continue to love smart, and be money smart today.